Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Aarna, host of Aarna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today on episode 60.
Yeah, literally no one knows everything. There is not time in the world for us all to learn everything and be really, really good at it. And I think just being able to accept that and to be able to say, if somebody's asking you about something, or you're doing a customer presentation or something and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, well, I don't know the answer, but I know how to find out, and leave it with me, I'll get back to you. Or, I think it's this, but let me just double check, I'll get back to you. Like, I do that all the time now because I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely, even within AWS, like I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely everything. But yeah, definitely. It is a mind shift, and it's something that took me a long time to accept. But now I'm there, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, happy to say I don't know.
Today on episode 60, I'm pleased to announce our guest, Faye Ellis. As a principal AWS training architect at A Cloud Guru with over 8 years of infrastructure design and 6 years of DevOps experience, she is teaching the world about cloud computing. Often in multiple courses teaching people the cloud on A Cloud Guru, she is certified on the levels of AWS Solutions Architect Professional, Google Cloud Associate Cloud Engineer, and so many more. Some of her past projects include designing a clearing system for the New York Stock Exchange, low latency trading platforms, card payment systems at Visa, and a number of P2V hybrid cloud, network, and data center migrations. So thank you so much, Faye, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you so much, Aarna. It's wonderful to be here with you. And thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. So of course, my name's Faye. I've been working at A Cloud Guru, I think, for about 5 years now. So my time is taking up really developing new content, maintaining existing content, with a big focus on AWS. So helping people to learn about AWS and get prepared for their jobs and get prepared to pass the certification exams.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here. And you're really a true role model of mine. I absolutely love the things that you do. So it's an amazing honor to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So my first question for you is, tell us a bit about your career path.
Oh, okay. So I started off, I actually went to university in the 90s, so long ago, and I did English and history because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But it became pretty obvious to me that that wasn't really going to get me the kind of career that I wanted, because I always wanted to have a career that was very challenging, and I wanted to be kind of financially independent. I wanted to be looking after myself, have my own property, and be an independent person. So I needed to get some good qualifications, right? So I actually ended up going back to university, and I did a master's degree in computer science. I learned all about programming. I learned to program in Java, C, C++. I learned how to design databases. So I learned how relational databases hang together. I learned about computer architecture and software design and the software development process. So, I mean, that's the stuff I learned. I really do still use a lot of it today, like that kind of foundation of IT. So, but obviously IT is completely different now. The kind of technologies that we're using now are completely different to what it was when I was first at university. So I went from that to I was very lucky, and I got on a graduate program with a company called Sun Microsystems. And they was a hardware company. They also invented Java. They invented the Solaris operating system, Unix operating system. So I got loads and loads of hands-on experience with that. And then I went from that, my very first role as a graduate. After that, a couple of years there, I actually went into financial services. And I was working as a systems administrator in financial services. So everything that I'd learned at Sun was really that kind of foundation for going into a proper IT support role. did that for a few years. And then I found that my passion was really more around kind of delivering new projects rather than, fixing backups or fixing user problems or, broken servers, that kind of thing. I wanted to get more involved in like designing the architecture that was going to be the next big thing. So I moved into an architecture role. Slowly, I started to just get more and more involved in architecture and design, and I eventually got myself lots of jobs as an architect, and I absolutely loved doing that. So as an architect, of course, you're kind of, you have to straddle the business and the technology. So you've got to understand the technology really, really well. But at the same time, you have to really understand all of the stakeholder requirements, the business, what the business is trying to do, and how technology is going to serve that. And also, understand the security of it all, and make sure that the platform and the system that you recommend is actually going to do the job it's supposed to. So I did that for ages. I did that probably for about 10 years, and I loved it. And then I found A Cloud Guru, and I actually realized that the world was changing. So the world of IT, it's changing ridiculously fast now. But about 6 or 7 years ago, I could see that things were changing, and I was going to have to learn about this thing called cloud. And working in financial services, it's not really the kind of cutting edge of technology. They're not, all the banks and the stock exchanges, they're not the first ones to jump in with a new technology. They want to wait until something's been proven. So a lot of my customers, the people that I was working with, they were not really into cloud, and they were very slowly dipping their toes in, but it wasn't the way it is today. But I knew that if I was going to survive and I was going to get the best jobs and get on the best projects, then I need to learn cloud. So that's when I discovered A Cloud Guru. I started learning using the Solutions Architect Associate course, and I passed the exam. And as a thank you, I was asked to go to I was asked to do like a customer testimonial actually for A Cloud Guru, and then which I did, and just explaining how I'd used the training and how it had helped me get a pay rise, how it had helped me get another job, and it had opened up all these opportunities for me. And so I did the testimonial. And as a thank you, they invited me for dinner, and they actually asked me, did I want to go and work at A Cloud Guru? And yeah, I honestly, I really didn't think it was for me, because I was having a lot of fun doing the jobs I was doing. I was getting very well paid. There was lots of opportunities out there for me. And I wasn't really looking for a change. But yeah, the whole idea of helping other people and, giving people the helping hand that maybe I didn't have necessarily when I was first starting out in IT, and, helping other people to learn skills and, broaden their horizons and get a better career. All of that really appealed to me. And I could see that A Cloud Guru was changing lives, changing people's lives, because it was making IT training available to everybody without having to go to university. I think now to start out a career in IT, you don't have to go and spend like many years going to college. You can learn at home by yourself, and you can try things out and determine, is that going to be a good career for you or not, without having to invest all that time and money and effort in going to university. It's just not worth it anymore. So I could really see the world is changing, and this company was really disrupting IT training, and I want to be part of it. So that was 5 years ago, and the rest is history, really. So I feel like I've had quite a sort of a roller coaster career with lots of different things going on. But I do definitely feel that everything that I did in my career, including my, going to university, it's brought me where I am today. So yeah, I wouldn't regret any of it. I'm definitely doing what I should be doing right now.
I absolutely love that. I mean, you learned so many different things. You had a different, major that you did. You had so many other career opportunities that came your way, but then you kind of found your passion from, English to, architecture to coding to all these amazing things that you've done so far. And then now you're at A Cloud Guru teaching it to other people. So that is super amazing. And I absolutely love this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, my first question, or my next question for you, is what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? And do you have any tips to succeed?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, when I was thinking about what career I wanted to do, my parents, my both of my parents, they work in psychiatry, and so they have no experience of this kind of sector, and they had no idea and couldn't really advise me. But one thing that my dad always said to me was, "You can do whatever you want. You can be what you want to be." As long as you decide what that's going to be, and then you set your goals and focus on it, and you're going to get there. And he was so right. And I think actually having somebody in your life say that to you and say, the world is yours, you can do what you want to do. And we don't, women can a woman can fly a helicopter now, so we can definitely get a great job in IT. And yeah, I think just having that focus, having a dream, dreaming big, and don't feel like just because you walk into the room and nobody else looks like you, well, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be there, and that doesn't mean that you can't have a super successful career. I think that sometimes it can be a disadvantage that you don't see people around that look like you. And I think that we have to work harder to find our mentors and find our role models, but they're out there. And I definitely had a lot of people championing me over the years. And I think one of the things that did help me with that is being helpful, being the person who volunteers for stuff, being useful, doing the difficult jobs that other people maybe don't want to do. All of that goes towards, establishing yourself, getting experience, learning, and it makes it easier for you to ask for help when you need help with something. When you've been the helpful person, you've given something back, then you will often get it back in return.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the power to kind of change your future, change your destiny. You have the power to do so. And it's really important to know that early on or in your life, honestly, because people hear that, but they don't actually implement it into their lives. So you have the power to do whatever you want. You're the one who makes those decisions. And there are people out there that are rooting for you. So just remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we can be our own worst enemy sometimes. We can be the one holding ourselves back, saying, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm right for this. I don't know. Am I clever enough? Am I focused enough? Am I driven enough? Or do I come from the right background? You're holding yourself back if you're telling yourself that. And actually, we need to all talk to ourselves a bit more nicely, and give ourselves a bit of encouragement, and also get out there and find our champions and find our mentors who are going to help us with things, because there are people out there who will help to raise you up and help to pass on their knowledge, and and help you on your way.
Absolutely. Because, if you listen to your inner critic, your inner voice that says these things, these negative things about you, you're not going to get anywhere. Yeah. So just silence it, figure out what it's all about, and, just try to focus on the people that I can actually help you, because there are people in the world who are rooting for you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And my question for you is, what is a common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
Oh, I think a lot of people think that IT is a little bit boring, and I think they also think it's difficult. And but I would say, I think any career, any job, any career, any sector can be boring. But I think in IT you've got so much choice that if you have technical ability, or like an affinity for maths, or coding or anything like that, I think you'll definitely find like loads of different opportunities. And even like if you don't want to do like a hardcore IT role, people can do like a technical project management type role, and having that technical ability matched with being a really good project manager is actually really, like, it's a fantastic skill to have, because a lot of the times you might meet somebody who's a fantastic project manager, but if they don't understand anything about technology, then they're going to struggle with some of the concepts in terms of what order to deploy certain things, how to work out when to do things, and how to communicate with the technical people that they're relying on to deliver this project for them. So I think that there's loads and loads of different roles out there, and some of the roles that I've done over the years I never even knew they existed. So things like doing DevOps or being Scrum Master, or even being an architect and what that really meant. I never really understood what that job was. I didn't realize it was a role that I could go into when I was at university learning Java. So there's tons of different roles, and the way to find out about them, I think, is really to be talking to the people around you, talking to the people who are working in IT, working in an area that you like the sound of. Have a chat with them and talk to them about, what do you do? Like, what does your role look like? What are the fun parts? What are the frustrating parts? How did you get there? What else is there out there? And just having those kind of conversations and really understanding it. And I think the other thing around it being difficult is, nothing worth having is easy, is it? Right? Nothing, every career where you're making good money and you having responsibility, it's all going to have a level of difficulty. And actually, I always wanted a job that was intellectually challenging. I didn't want a job where the day was the same every single day. I wanted to always be learning new things and using my brain, because for me, that's the whole point of being on the planet, is to be able to learn and change and evolve and, appreciate what's going on around you. So for me, having that intellectual challenge is really, really, really important. And I actually, the longer my career goes on, the easier it all gets, because, once you've got that kind of foundation of IT knowledge, it's changing, but it's easier to keep up with the things that you need to. And I think also, we don't need to know everything. You need to know the important stuff that's going to help you do your job day to day, but we don't have to remember it all. There is Google. We can look things up. There is documentation. If you're thinking, oh, how do I configure this database again, or how do I set this up, this clustering, or this backup, how do I get this all sorted? You can just look at the documentation. And I think that also with AWS, it's changing. It's changing. Multiple changes are happening every single day. They're pushing out changes to all of the cloud platforms every single day. So one day a button could be over here, and then the next day it's down here, or it's on a different page, or there's a different option. So you've got to be able to accept that things are going to change, and just embrace it, and be happy when something changes, because we're getting new features, we're getting something new to learn about, and an improvement. So yeah, those are my two main things that I'd like to debunk.
100% agree. Like, IT doesn't always have to be just coding something, because honestly, I find that a little boring. You can always marry your interests together, because that's a possibility in technology. Like, technology is honestly a tool, and you can do that to power up anything you truly enjoy. So that is the beauty of, STEM and computer science. And also, I really loved what you said about, you can always use Google. You don't have to know everything, because honestly, we place this pressure on ourselves that once you get into a career or an industry, you have to be an expert. But that's really a big bogus, because you can always use Google, ChatGPT, whatever it may be. And yeah, you don't have to know everything. The basics are the best, but you can always utilize external sources.
Yeah, literally no one knows everything. There is not time in the world for us all to learn everything and be really, really good at it. And I think just being able to accept that, and to be able to say, if somebody's asking you about something, or you're doing a customer presentation or something, and they ask you a question and you don't know the answer, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, well, I don't know the answer, but I know how to find out, and leave it with me. I'll get back to you. Or, I think it's this, but let me just double check. I'll get back to you. Like, I do that all the time now, because I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely, even within AWS, like I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely everything. But yeah, definitely. It is a mind shift, and it's something that took me a long time to accept. But now I'm there, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, happy to say I don't know.
Yeah, and my question for you is, if you could step into my shoes or a younger self, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
Oh, I tell you what I would ask. I would ask, are there any mistakes or things that I did in my career or decisions that I made that maybe if I had my time again, would I do differently? And I'll give you the answer as well. I think on the whole, I'm pretty happy with the way that my career's gone. I do feel like maybe there was a couple of occasions when I would have probably benefited from leaving certain jobs that weren't necessarily serving me or that weren't allowing me to grow. And maybe I could have left those particular roles a year earlier or something like that, or, you know, a little bit sooner. I think also it's really, really important for us all to learn about how to negotiate salary. And I think it's important for us to learn that early on. And I can remember a couple of times where I did make mistakes when negotiating salary. So I would say definitely, if you are in that position, find someone to practice with you negotiating salary, because you don't want to be caught unawares in a conversation with somebody offering you a job, and you're just not prepared for that conversation. So for me, what ended up really helping me was just practicing it with somebody that I trusted, and just having a hypothetical conversation with them and having them try to negotiate me down, and me trying to stand my ground and ask for what I think I'm worth. And I think also finding people that you can have that trusted conversation with, people who are peers at your level, and people that, I mean, it's such a delicate thing, but I do have some friends who I can be very open and honest with about salaries, and we're kind of at the same level. We have the same kind of experience, the same number of years experience, and I have like 2 or 3 friends that I have that conversation with, and we all kind of will be very open about what we're earning, because we all want to make sure that we're getting like market rate, and we don't want to end up like somebody's earning a lot less than the other, and we just feel like, oh no, I didn't negotiate very well, did I, on that one? So yeah, I would say really nailing those salary negotiation skills early on in the career is very beneficial for everybody, and I think especially women, because we're not used to asking for what we want. I think it can be difficult as women to learn how to ask for things in an assertive way without coming across as being aggressive. And we as women naturally, I know I was certainly brought up to be pleasing, and, you know, not somebody who makes a fuss, not somebody who gives anybody any trouble, try to make everybody's life easier. And we don't want to do that at the negotiation table when we should be advocating for ourselves. So I think trying to find your voice in that situation, and finding a way to negotiate that's going to work for you. And it does take practice. So yeah, I would say definitely. But I do have a suggestion of a great book, actually, I know we're going to talk about books later, but I have a suggestion of a great book that has some tips about salary negotiation in it.
All right, perfect. And I really love what you said, because it doesn't go just for the negotiation table. It can go for anything, like interviewing, how to be more confident, and finding those people, those friends, or the people that you can be open with is really beneficial, because they can help propel you and your career. Because when you're talking to people, that's what you do in interviews. And the way to be confident and assertive is to kind of practice that. Practice makes perfect. So trying to find those support systems and people that you can really be honest and open with is something that will really, really help you.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
All right. And this is a great segue to my next question, which is, what are the best resources / books that have helped you find your career path?
Oh my God. Well, I would say for resources, it was definitely like discovering this whole world of online training that absolutely exploded over the last, I guess the last sort of 5-6 years. Online training has just gone on leaps and bounds. So I think just that whole world of training, being able to tap into that and, learn something new every day. I've got loads of books. I got absolutely loads of books to share with you. This one is called Great Answers to Tough Interview Questions. It's by a guy called Martin John Yates. And he's got loads of example interview questions, like the kind of difficult questions that we get asked. Things like, what do you do when something doesn't go as planned? Or like giving an example of when you had to use your initiative, that kind of thing. Like in hindsight, what would you have done a little differently on, you know, XYZ project that you did? So that's really good for like getting prepared for interviews if you ever have to do that. And you can also do role plays with people, with like a trusted friend, get them to read out some of the questions so you can practice giving the answers. My other one is this one, Study Skills by Tony Buzan. And this is all about how to create a mind map. And I don't know if you've ever done mind maps before, have you?
I don't think I have.
No, there's like a study, they're kind of a study aid or a note-taking aid. And so instead of writing down like loads and loads of long-winded notes, it teaches you how to draw like a spider diagram, and really structure all of the information in the format of this diagram. There's loads of YouTube videos, like really short videos telling you how to do a mind map. But the great thing about this book is that it's got memory techniques in there as well, if you ever have to remember like arbitrary information for a test. Speed reading as well, which is really, really useful. And I use the speed reading techniques as well all the time. Love that book. My book with the salary negotiation is Women in Tech, and it's by Tara Wheeler. And this is only came out, I think maybe came out about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's got lots of advice for women about getting into a tech career and leveling up your tech career as well, including the secrets of salary negotiation, very important, format for tech resumes, how to ace the technical interview, and how to find a mentor. So this is a fantastic book, really easy to read, lovely, like nice to read. And then my last one is this one, The Phoenix Project. This is such a famous book. I think it came out 10 years ago. It's a novel, and it's all about DevOps. So it's about this this company, really dysfunctional company, and they got a project going on. It's called the project is called the Phoenix Project. It's over budget. It's really, really late. And they've sacked the person that was in charge of it. And then on the first day, the main character gets lumbered with this project, and he's told, you've got to fix this in 90 days, otherwise your whole team's going to be gone. Like the whole IT team are going to be gone, and we'll outsource everything to an outsourcing company. And it's all about the new like DevOps style initiatives that this guy brought in to fix all of the issues with the company and sort out all their dysfunction. So he step by step he brings in all these different DevOps procedures, and it basically turns it around. But it's in novel format, so it's like a story, and you meet all these different characters. You get to understand all the different stakeholders in the business. And yeah, if you ever worked in an IT department, you'll recognize some of the people, like the people who don't want to change, or the people who don't want to cooperate, and how to actually get around that, and how to prove to them that the DevOps is the right way to go. And it all seems, you know, it was written 10 years ago. 10 years later, it all seems pretty obvious that they should have been doing DevOps instead of a waterfall approach. But it's I still think it's a really fun read, and it's just kind of reminds you that everybody has a different viewpoint, and we all need to be pulling together in the same direction to have a successful company. So yeah, I love reading this book. I've read it about 3 times, and it's always enjoyable. I always find something different in it every time I read it. So that's another one.
I absolutely love that. I'm going to check out all of those books. I mean, the last one, The Phoenix Project, seems super interesting because I've never actually seen an IT or technical book written in a novel format. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love that. I'm definitely going to check it out right after this interview. So, thank you for giving me those reads.
You're welcome. Yeah, definitely have a go with it, because it is actually enjoyable to read as well. It's not, you don't feel like you're reading a textbook. You're like, I want to know what happens next. Like, or this person's ridiculous. They're so wrong. Like, how are they going to get through it if this person is like objecting to this and blocking things? So yeah, it's a good fun read.
Perfect. And my question for you is, what do you think is a vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
It was definitely cloud, I think, or maybe I think like general certifications, and like having the willingness to learn new stuff. So I always, throughout my entire career, I always wanted to learn things and get certifications. And I think partly it's to do with having a little bit of imposter syndrome, and also feeling like I want the certification. I want a piece of paper that says that I know this thing. And but actually I think in studying for a certification, it means that you learn the topic, the technical details of the topic. You learn them so well that if anyone asks you a question in a technical interview, it just comes out like that. You don't get stressed about a technical interview at all. If you've done the learning and you pass the exam, there isn't a question they can ask you that you're going to be uncomfortable with. Even if I've even been in technical interviews where they asked me a question I didn't have a clue about the answer. But I was able to say, I don't actually know, but I know there's this command that I can run instead, and that will give me this. And then, maybe there's this other command I need to look up. I would probably look up the documentation for this command to see if there's a way that I can use that. Or I know that this is how it works in this operating system. Maybe it's going to work somewhere different. So I kind of have a thought process, even if I wouldn't know, okay, I know exactly the answer. And I got to the stage in my career that every job interview I went to, I got every single job. And I really feel like it was because my technical skills became so strong just because I'd done so much certification. I'd done all of the Solaris Unix certification. I'd done a TOGAF certification, which is like an architecture certification. And then I did all the cloud certifications, which meant that it was very easy for me to answer AWS questions. So I guess having that attitude to learn, and really learn it and get it in my skull, that kind of gave me the confidence in interviews, and also helped me to get on the very best projects out there. Just trying to identify what's the next best skill I need. And I think now, if I was out there working as an architect right now, instead of working at A Cloud Guru, I'd probably be like focusing on like cloud security, because everybody needs that, or like AI, machine learning. I'd kind of go down that path, maybe a bit of data science. So that's where I'd be if I wasn't doing A Cloud Guru and really focusing on the kind of sysops and developer stuff. But I think having that ability to learn and want an attitude that you want to learn, and definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, I love that, because when you try to figure out what are the best next things that I can do for my career, you typically go to certifications because they seem really easy to do. Like, it's just, you do a course, you do whatever, and then you just get a certification with your name on it. But there's a lot more that goes into it, like actually learning the material and ingraining it into your skull. I really like what you said about that. So there's like a lot of things that go kind of behind the scenes of what that certification entails. And once you actually learn it, you'll be, as quick as, a fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you will just ace those interviews. You won't get nervous about the technical questions. You just have to worry about all the other questions they're going to ask you.
Absolutely. And my last question for you is, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career path?
Oh, I think I wish that I had known that I am as good as everyone else, and that just because a lot of the time in my career I was the only girl in the room, or only woman in the room, and I didn't have somebody who looked like me who I could emulate or understand, okay, where I'm going, where she's going. I think that if I'd understood, well, actually, you can find mentors everywhere, and they don't have to look like you. And I think also, if I'd realized at the time, I do deserve to be here, and I have got something to say, and I am as good as everybody here. If not, I'm putting in more effort because of the imposter syndrome. I think if I'd kind of internalized that, then I would have been more comfortable. But I don't know. I would say in a way, a little bit of imposter syndrome does make you work harder. It does make sure that you try and do better than everybody else. You try and be the one that's always competent, not making mistakes. But try not to be so hard on myself.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're the only girl or woman in the room, that means that you are doing something right because you are a trailblazer and you're kind of paving the path for other women and other girls to look forward to and be more
Yeah,
interested in that industry. So, I mean, even if you are the only person who's just like you, that means that you are doing something right and,
yeah.
you can continue doing it and, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, and I think IT is such a rewarding career. I think for me, it's wonderful to be learning new things every day. You know, getting paid well, being able to support myself and family and everything. And I think, yeah, for me, I wouldn't change it for the world. And it was definitely the best decision I made was going into an IT career. Definitely.
Thank you so much, Faye. I absolutely love talking to you and I hope you have the best rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Aarna, and goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Aarna Sahu, host of Aarna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today on episode 60.
Yeah, literally no one knows everything. There is not time in the world for us all to learn everything and be really, really good at it. And I think just being able to accept that and to be able to say if somebody's asking you about something, or you're doing a customer presentation or something and they ask you a question you don't know the answer, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, well, I don't know the answer, but I know how to find out, and leave it with me. I'll get back to you. Or, I think it's this, but let me just double check. I'll get back to you. Like, I do that all the time now because I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely, even within AWS, like I don't have time to keep up to date with absolutely everything. But yeah, definitely. It is a mind shift, and it's something that took me a long time to accept. But now I'm there, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, happy to say I don't know.
Thus, that concludes the episode for this week. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you are listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Dito, you're listening to Aarna Sahu, the host of Aarna's News. Toodles!